Hello again, I am Jim Bob and welcome back to Railway Empire, Great Britain and Ireland, Transport Revolution. We are certainly looking to improve our cities around here and starting to ship in some of those extra goods that will be needed to grow our towns. Oh, no, that's a Firefly. I want a John Bull. Get a bit of a refund on that. There we go. Close that. This quarter made a massive profit. It's good to see. Did I run... No, I need to run one to Birmingham. From here, so that's going to come in through here. So, this goes out on the freight line. Then needs to come back on the goods line. There we go. Let's see. Do I want it to stop at Nottingham on the way and run some freight from Birmingham? Yes, let's do that. And then once we get to Nottingham, let's make sure it runs with no cars like that. Excellent stuff. Route options. Actually, I need to change that first, don't I? To freight. There we go. And then put in that change there. We want John Bull on that line. There we go. Get that one loaded up. Meat industry in Dover. That's way away from where we're going to be. It's also very expensive for what it is as well. Do I have... Because I can't remember if I put one in. Do I have a line running into Nottingham from here? No, I don't. So let's do that as well. Again, that's not signalled properly. Oh, it's not signalled at all. It's not a question of not being signalled properly. Properly, it's just not even signalled at all. I must have forgot to put those ones in. There we go. Check they're all spaced properly. They are. I'm going to need a supply tower on this run. Let's plonk the supply tower there. Excellent stuff. Right. What other goods do I need to kind of start shipping around as well? I still need to get an extra good or two into Oxford. There's no quick and easy way to do it from here. Unless I connect Northampton to Oxford, which is something I was a bit reticent about doing. What other goods locally have I got that I can bring in? Oh God, I forgot to put my maintenance sheds in, didn't I? Let's do that there. Has Nottingham got one? Has now. Birmingham should already have one. It does. What about Oxford? Oxford doesn't. There we go. Let's check those new staff. What have we got? 2 new conductors. We'll take both of those. Let's find some of those passenger trains. It's got one. Nottingham to Northampton. That's broken down from bad condition, I think. Yeah, quite a few trains in bad condition at the moment. Let's put a conductor on that one as well. There we go. Those will all start getting maintained now as soon as they pull into their relevant stations. So those bad condition breakdowns will stop happening. That's good to see. I get the feeling there's something else I should be doing as well. This is quite a long run. Let's put a stoker on that train. Oh, it improves reliability. I was hoping it would be a speed boost, but we'll take the reliability upgrade. how fast these trains are rocketing down this line. In fact, this actually gives me an opportunity to show off just how fast these trains go. Let's pay off that second debt while we're waiting. Look at that, we're earning money hand over fist. Northampton is growing, finally. Oh, this train's broken down. That's just a random breakdown, but watch the speed. Is that... I was going to get fixed. Oh, he's broken down at the point where this train needs to route itself. I see, this is weird because the train here, it could route itself on this diamond here, but it's not. It's trying to route itself on this diamond, which is being occupied by a broken down train. No, that's not the problem. It's because that train's partially across. It needs to come onto this line here. I was looking at that platform there. Yeah, that's why. But I want to try and wait for this to start moving again. I want to show the speed difference between a passenger train that's loaded up fully, or certainly has a lot of stuff with it, and it is loaded up fully, against an unladen John Bull, and we're just not getting... It's not turning... Oh, here we go. There we go. That John Bull has no weight behind it whatsoever. There's nothing there for it to pull, and it's still being outstripped rapidly by a Firefly pulling a nearly full train, at least a half full train there. That's how effective those Fireflies are for our passenger services. We're back to 1.4 million already. We need to connect by 1837. I think as soon as we hit 1834, which isn't too far off, we're going to connect to Liverpool, to London. So I just want to see what else we can do. Northampton growing now. That's good. Nottingham, is Nottingham growing yet? Nottingham's missing too many goods. Apples and fish. Do we have a nearby source of... We've got this source of apples here. It's not nearby, but there's a source up here, though. Yeah, let's bring those ones into play. So we want... if we go with a 2-train station, like that, then we can take advantage of the potatoes when the towns get big enough. They'll need a population of about 50,000, I think, before those will... The demand for those will kick in, but what it does mean is I need to take that out and those bits out. And bring these lines in first. Lower that down a bit. That's quite a steep incline there, 4%. It's never going to get better than 4% there, is it? Unless I push that. Yeah, even there, it's still going to be 4%. Okay, let's drop that back down again. I go there on the height of that. Yeah, it's just not going to change it, is it? Okay, so that'll do. Bring this out this way. Run that down there. Put the diamond crossing just there. And instead of having... that going in at that angle. Where's the nearest setup? I'm just going to have to delete this train. Which train is that? Okay, that one's easy enough to get rid of. Let's take that train off. Take those tracks back out. I'm not going to take the station out because that'll break the other lines completely. Let's try and figure out where my points are going to be. That looks pretty good, actually. Check my height. Hate the way it does that sometimes. It's really annoying. Okay, so we rebuild that there. Bring that line off there. Need to re-signal this now completely. So I want to stop there, go there, stop there, and a go. And then over here. That's the point. Did I put in a crossing? Oh no, I just went with a single station there, didn't I? Single platform. Okay. Got an errant signal just there. Because of the bridge. They don't look spaced properly. They might be, but they just don't look it. So I'm going to manually position these ones. Move these ones back a little bit as well. Yeah, that spacing looks a little bit better. In a way, it's a shame I couldn't bring these together a little bit closer so that I could then take advantage of a supply tower on both lines at the same time, but it's not the end of the world. Again, got signals that just want to misbehave because of the bridges. That's what generally throws out my automatic spacing of signals along here is bridges. I wonder. I put these actually about there and there. And then move these ones back a little bit. Is that going to be enough space? I think those are positioned too far forward because of, again, the bridge. So let's put those there and there. And that allows me to pull these ones in a little bit. It's a little bit better. It's still a little clunky. Might not be perfectly spaced. It should be good enough. I'm going to need 2 supply towers then. I'm going to need 1 on each line. So let's put 1 there. The other one there. Okay. Need to put that Nottingham train back in again. Put a Firefly on again. There we go. What have I just connected? Oh, apples, wasn't it? Yeah, so I want a train to run from there into Nottingham. Save the engineer. This train here wants to run into Northampton. It's running on the freight line. Good. And we'll put the engineer on that one because it's a longer run. And do I have apples going into... Yes, I do. I have apples going in there. Plus, I've already got a spud connection just here as well, waiting to be used. Actually, do I have a spud train running yet? No, I don't. They should have a demand for spuds now. Yes, they do. We've also got space to drop in a museum or university. Let's go with the university. Try and boost our gain on innovation points a little bit. And let's drop in a spud train into Birmingham, like so. There we go. Should already have wool going in. Just the one. That's okay. We're more than meeting our demand. Let's expand the industry. What extra goods do we have going in over here? Do we have any extra goods? No, not yet. But we will do. As soon as we push into London, which is going to happen very, very soon. It's about to hit 1834. And it has hit 1834. There we go. With a ping. There's no point hiring a saboteur because there's no one to sabotage. We have got some points to spend. What's the whistle going to give me? Extra passengers. Yeah, let's do that. Why not? So, I think we are ready to make the push over to London. 2 new members of staff, or new conductor, and a headhunter again. There's no one to poach from, so that's a bit of a waste. Let me find my first passenger train that needs a conductor. There we go. And let's connect ourselves over to London. So we need a big station. Let's connect our lines.
If you succeed in flourishing in the capital as well, it should help to overcome even the last resistance and to facilitate the construction of railways in the future considerably. In a metropolis like London, it could get quite confusing. The locomotive engines start to impede each other gradually. You could create some space and upgrade your train station with signalling control. The points operators will take care of the traffic so it runs more smoothly.
So a hint there to add in a signal control station. Well, most of our stations already have signal control, so it's just advising of a brand new mechanic. But we're already very fluent in those stations, so we don't need to worry about upgrading to one. And upgrading is actually quite tricky because of these extra bits along the end. You actually have to take out quite a bit of track going into an existing large station so that it can then create the signalling bit that goes on the end there. So you potentially have to delete quite a bit of connections to your city and then rebuild them from scratch once the signalling is in. It's doable, it's a lot of work. That's why I prefer to just build them with signal control straight away. So this is going to be our main freight connection. Oh, actually, let's put the freight connection on the bottom. Let's put freight down here. If I start down here, like that. I'll run that to about there, maybe. Actually, no. Let's try it from here and see how smooth that corner looks. That's not too bad. See, it just steps out, and I'd rather it didn't do that. There we go. That might make this next bit a little bit tricky. And it has, but that's to be expected. There we go. So we run the freight line along the bottom like this. And that allows us to use this as a freight connection to Northampton. Then this top platform here can be a freight connection from Northampton to Oxford, and so on and so forth. And we end up with a spare platform over here we can perhaps run as a connection to here. Right. It's a good thing we've got plenty of cash, because I want to run I think a large station through here. I just need to think about this. Think about the angle, because I want to run passenger trains as well. Let's go like that. So, let's start with the passenger lines. Oh, I need to take that off first, don't I? Let's take that bit out. There we go. So I don't have that long elongated signal there. I only did that deliberately just to get a nice gradual bend running alongside it. Which actually ends up looking a little bit wonky and wobbly, but it'll do the job. So from here, that needs to come up into the middle here, and those are going to be two through lines. Just trying to put a... I'll just leave it like that and then just change this angle. There we go. It's a 4% gradient. That's quite steep for this era. Unfortunately, I can't really do anything about it without creating a very unsightly and sharp kink. Unless I do it like that. That might work. Again, it's just... that's annoying. I'll take that line out, perhaps. Can I get it to auto route itself through the... kind of. It doesn't really want to do it properly. What about if I do that? It's creating really unnecessary gradients. Let's just take those stop points out like that and just leave it manually to route that way. That'll do. It's not ideal, but it'll do. So this is the through route here for our passenger services to connect up to Northampton. And again, I want that straight over there, as it goes over the river, because we're going to need to route another service. If it cuts through the hill, it cuts through the hill. There we go. That's got it to straighten up properly. Let's try dropping it down a touch. Yeah, that's better. So a 3% gradient there, but we can cope with 3% there. Run that across. And there we go. So we have a passenger connection from Northampton through to London, and more importantly, from Nottingham. Can now run through Northampton into London as well. So 2 more cities connected to our capital city over here. Now this is where it gets a bit trickier and a bit more interesting. So normally I would put a spacer in, but I'm not going to this time because we're okay on this side. I'll have to do it on the opposite side. I'm going to run this along here like that, and then this is going to have to come in just here like that. And then it'll do the same over here. And this one is going to have to split off because we do have bridges. So we run that to there. And then that's going to run along the line here. It's giving me an error at the moment, but we can resolve that. And I want that line to, or that corner to look reasonably smooth. I think that's going to be the best position for it, like that. So there we go. It's a freight line connection there. Now, I've had to do it like that because actually thinking about it, I might have made a mistake here. Yeah, I have. So I can show you actually now. Oh, I took the whole line out. Did not want to do that. Hopefully it'll let me reconnect it. Yeah, point's still there. Good. If I run this to there, I'm going to put a marker in, and I'll take that out in its entirety. So I'll take these bits out here as well. I can actually show you how to upgrade a town now, or upgrade a station. I want the signalling control because I want the ability to route goods from Northampton through this station into Oxford, as well as down to London. So I need to have access on this side as well. So makes things a bit trickier. Let's see. Do I run my passenger service in? I could run from here and then go up this way and then in that way, but that means kind of cutting up at quite a sharp angle. I think we'll try doing it this way if we can. So let's upgrade this station. Here we go, to signal control. So I need to think about how I'm going to do this. Oh wow, that looks really weird. The way that's sitting, that does not look right at all. Let's just try to build it on a hill, and it's made a bit of a mess of the hill. Looks like it's going to do the same again. Yeah, that's weird. It's just tried to contour those a little bit by the look of it. I need to think about this. So yeah, these are still going to have to do the same again. So they're going to have to route into the... look at the gradients now. Let's take these lines out completely and start all over again. It's going to be the easiest thing to do, I think. And reposition this station as well. Luckily we get refunds, so it doesn't matter if we make a mistake, we can easily correct it. Let's position the station there, like that, I think. So let's do our passenger lines first of all. I'm going to bring them out at a reasonably sharp angle like that, because we're going to split the other ones off as well. Down that way into Oxford. So it's going to be essentially what we were doing before, but with the important addition of having signal control, which means that trains can route through quite nicely. So that wants to run along here like that. And this is where it gets a bit tricky, because that might end up being a little bit too steep on the inside line. It's curving back on itself. Let's just trim the edge off that a little bit. There we go. Clear the planning. There we go. And the same again over here. Run that along the top. There we go. And then this is going to split here, and we need to do this one before we can do the other freight connection. And I want those to come in about here. Again, I've got to be wary of the radius of that corner. Make sure it's not too tight. Otherwise, I can't put a train or a track inside it. That should be good. Because it's not just the passenger lines, it's for the freight lines as well. So there we go. That's our direct passenger connection. Put the spacing track in. And this spacing track, it's not a requirement. I mean, it's only a requirement when we have bridges. But I think it just creates a nice aesthetic. So that's why I've been playing around with it a lot. So there are some times when it just makes things a little bit too complicated. But having that space between the tracks does allow us to actually join lines together. You know, in the going further forward. So it has its negatives, it has its positives as well. Like any way you try and plan track, there are limitations to just how kind of realistic you can make your rail networks. And there's such a disparity, especially in the early days, in the early years like this, in the 1830s. There's such a disparity in power and speed between freight and passenger services. You kind of have to make sure that they're all separated. You can't really, not if you want to run an efficient passenger service, you can't run passengers and freight on the same line, or at least not for very long stretches, because your passenger trains just get held up ridiculously, and they lose so much speed, and it's just not worth it. So now we need to connect up over here. So we'll do passengers first. And again, as before, we need to make sure that the line is straight. I'll deliberately move that out of the way. I'm looking for the track to snap like that. There we go. That's the snap that I was looking for, because I want that to be straight so I can bring that off and space it quite quickly away from the bridge there, and then that I can take out and then just try and soften that up a bit. There we go. This is going to be really tricky. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this on that side anyway, so what I'll have to do is just build the spacer on this side and hope that it's going to be enough. Actually, I don't need that there. Take that out. Oh no, I do. I do, don't I? I need spacers on both sides. I need freight on both sides. One for London, one for Oxford. Same again here. So let's try and put a connection in that runs across here now. And then from there, oh, yes, there is enough of a gap. That's good. And then I need to do the same on the other side. So run across there. We had it, and then we had a problem. What's the... There we go. Spacing wasn't staying evenly distributed, so that should sort that out. And then run along the top here. And come into the station here. And the same again on the bottom along here. Run that along, bring it in. There we go. So let's extend our spacer tracks. I'd like to try and get a supply tower crossing all of these lines. And bring that in there. There we go. And same on the bottom line as well. Excellent stuff. So let's we're getting there bit by bit. Let's take these little bits out here. So we're going to have passengers in the middle and then freight running on either side, like that. running goods back and forth, and also splitting off to the relevant directions that way and that way as well. So I need supply tower here, and I also need one here and one here as well, and then one here as well. Lots of supply towers in this section here. Let's start putting all the signals in so we can figure out spacing first of all. So we'll start with the passenger junction. Go. I may as well put the freight in the same spot again, just for ease of convenience when it comes to lining up our supply tower on this section of track over here. So let's do the passenger connection first again. Space these out the same, or roughly the same. And same again over here for this supply tower. Try and keep those lined up. And let's go ahead and drop in those signals all the way along there. And we'll check the spacing all the way across. So we've got some irrelevant signals there, take those out, and this will be where we drop the supply tower. And once you drop it slightly in front of those signals there, just to give us a little bit more space. So we'll take these ones out like that, and now we can take out the spacer track. And there we go, we've got our signal supply tower through there. I don't have one on here, do I? Or do I? I must have. Yeah, I do. Okay, so a bit of a long run, but supply tower is available. I need one on here, so we need to do the signals on here now. Again, I would normally space those a bit further forward, but we want them to line up here, so that we can put our supply tower in without any issues. Now, I'm not convinced there's space for two along there. Not sure why it's giving me that option. That doesn't look like enough space for a double. So I'm just going to put one in the middle, and it'll be a supply tower. Do that. And we'll take the spacer line out. Now we need to signal this bit. So they're done over there. That, and then auto space, and then we can take these out like so, and let's put the supply tower here. Take out the spacer. Don't need signals here anymore because we've got the signaling control. We need to do this side now. easily the most time-consuming part of of any kind of build that we do like this is always going to be the signals. And again, I would push these further forward normally, but I do need to keep them lined up pretty well for the sake of our supply tower when we drop that in. And then same again over here. So just need to reposition that one slightly. That doesn't want to snap. There we go. So we'll do the bottom line first of all. We're going to have no doubt problems because of the bridges that we'll need to deal with. Let's check the line. Yeah, you can see here it's put the signals at the start of the bridge rather than actually on the bridge. So the spacing isn't right. Let's go with that there. I just want to bring these further forward slightly as well. Like so. Now we should be able to match these. Probably should have done this line first, actually. They're all okay through there. They all kind of line up. You know what? Those actually do look like they are okay there. And let's reposition these ones through here as well. Take those out. And where do we want the supply tower? Where's the other one? There. Let's plonk this one here on the approach. There we go. And we'll take out all of those spaces now. That's all clear and clean all the way through there, and through there, and through there. Yes, there we go. Right. Ugh, a bit of work involved there. Let's very quickly get a couple of trains up and running. Let's start off with this one into London. Need to get that one up and running as quick as we can. And I also want to run that into Oxford as well. So it's going out on the right line. It needs to come back in on that one there as well. And there we go. That's the missing goods for Oxford. That'll get Oxford to start to grow. We've got some growth up here in Manchester. There's what? How many people here now? 120,000. Nice. Northampton's growing. Oxford's about to grow as soon as that first train goes in. London's going to grow. Let's put a shed on there. I'm going to put one on here as well. We'll get some passenger services redirected soon. And that seems a good place for us to end it. So that's it from me. Thanks for watching. I am Jim Bob, and I'll be back with some more Railway Empire, Great Britain and Ireland Transport Revolution very soon.